For my interview, for my final assignment, I did the manager of Nesh Mediterranean Grill in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm currently doing my internship there. So it was nice to learn more about him. His name's William Perez, and he's been in the food service industry for quite a while, maybe 23 years. He started since he was 16, and he started at the bottom as a dishwasher and slowly worked his way up to eventually becoming the manager of several establishments. Um, Currently, he works at Nesh, which I stated earlier, which is in Chicago, Illinois, and it's kind of like a quick service restaurant. It's like Chipotle, but with Mediterranean food, and it's different than most restaurants because it's a family-owned business, and there's only two locations, one in Lincoln Park and one in the Loop. And the Loop um, location he opened himself. He found all the staff. He worked hand in hand with the owner and like started it from the beginning. Um, so some of the questions I asked him in the interview are, what are some of the challenges he finds being a manager of an establishment? And he said the most important one was time organization, finding a way to get everything done in your allotted time slot, and then knocking out a good work shift. And then along with that are some of the joys. And he said, and the greatest thing about being a manager is when you have an organized, smooth running shift with good sales and no bumps in the road, and where everything just flows smoothly and you don't have to worry about a thing. And then I asked him the difficulty he thinks in finding good, trustworthy staff, and he said one of the most difficult things to get is a trustworthy individual that cares for the business as much as he would as if it were his or her own. And funny story is, we were working at Nesh, and we had a dishwasher. He came in daily at 9 o'clock till close, and he was there every day. And then one day, Will gets a message that he cannot come in because he got an injury, and that's all right. And then the next day, we got the same message, and eventually he came in. He went down the wrong path, started joined a gang, and not caring as his work so much, and just wanted to make money in the wrong ways, and got in fights, and that's how he got the injuries. So Will had to let him go, and it was hard because he gave that individual a chance to prove himself, and the individual changed and then went back to his old ways. So that was kind of disappointing for Will. And speaking of staff, the way he trains his staff is he doesn't allow them to do it individually right away. He shows them and then does it with them, and then wants them to teach it back to him so that he knows they understand completely. Um, some motivation that he uses for his staff is just positive reinforcement, and he wants his staff to earn the respect they get. Um, he never hires anyone that doesn't respect themselves. As long as they have self-respect and trusts in themselves and what they're doing, he's he's all about it. Um, some issues he has faced with hiring unhelpful employees. The main areas of difficulty with employees that aren't willing to abide by the rules or listen to the manager are with customer service. They don't normally have the best way to communicate with customers because they have no experience, they don't know, and they just think their way is automatically right, when in this industry you kind of have to always see it as the customer being correct. Their quality of food isn't always up to par, um, and in turn you lose business. And then if the individual isn't fired in the correct manner, the industry, or well, not the industry, but the establishment might be forced to pay unemployment. Employee morale then goes down if the individual isn't like putting in effort, making the other employees or coworkers do all the work. And he really thinks the list goes on, but those were the main points. He believes that what has worked best for him as a manager is respect. You have to demand your respect for the restaurant, the rules, for the manager or supervisor, because if there's no respect, the employees are just going to do whatever they want and not listen to what you have to say. Some early mistakes or misunderstandings that he'd had to deal with were getting too friendly and comfortable with the staff. He knew them on a personal level and knew like family and just got really like built a friendship with them, but he didn't maintain that professional relationship as a basis of the friendship, and it really like got in the way because of his decision making, and he didn't want to do that anymore because once you have a connection with someone, you automatically want to think about them and not just what's best for you. So that kind of took away from making his decisions. But he just says keep you can be personable, but just keep it professional. He believes in a saying he learned early on, which was acquaintance builds animosity. Um, as long as it doesn't get in the way of decision making and what's best for the business, he's okay with it. His personal philosophy on managing people is communication and making commitment. When he wants something done, he doesn't expect an okay answer. He expects you to repeat what he has said he wants you to do and assure him that you will do that and you will take care of it. And it doesn't really differ with the owner, but in a way, managing and owning a restaurant is a dictatorship. If you're the owner, you want it done a certain way, and both Will and the owner of the restaurant believe that communication is key, and when you listen as an employee, that's your job. You have to listen and complete what is asked of you and do it without a problem, no matter if you think you have a better way to do it or whatever it may be. But they both believe that don't think, just do. If you're asked to do something, the you're not going to get in trouble for doing what the owner said. You're going to not take the blame. The manager will be blamed. So as long as you're being told what to do, just it's gotta listen. And then he believes he makes his major decisions by thinking through what has happened, and if it's a decision to if he should or should not hire an employee, he thinks back. Did I train them correctly? Did I give them all the tools they needed? Did I follow up? Did they care? Did I he just revisits the whole situation before making that decision. He doesn't just make a spur of the moment decision and doesn't think in the now. And he believes, going on after that, he believes that um, human resources is definitely needed in the food service industry. And he just thinks you need to trust yourself and do what you're told. That's his main motto or belief in running a restaurant. And I actually learned a lot from him. The most important thing is when hiring a manager, I think you need to find someone that runs the restaurant as if were their own and not like someone else's. They need to care for the restaurant as if it was their own, if their money was being thrown around, if they just need to take care of that and respect their decision. I enjoyed interviewing him and having my internship there.